Okay, for example 4, we're first going to find the slope of the secant line between x is equal to 0 and x is equal to 1. So the slope of our secant line, we're going to plug into our slope formula, which is f of 1 minus f of 0 over 1 minus 0. Now our f of 1, if you plug into our equation up here, we have 2 times 1 squared, which is 2, minus 5 times 1, minus 3. And that's going to give us negative 3 minus 3, which is negative 6. And f of 0, when you plug in 0, is going to be 2 times 0 minus 5 times 0 minus 3, which is just negative 3. So when you plug that back into your equation, we get negative 6 minus negative 3 over 1. Negative 6 plus 3 gives you negative 3 over 1. And so the slope of your secant line is negative 3. To find the slope of your tangent line, we're now going to use our equation for tangent line, which is f of, so we're using 2 plus h minus f of 2 over h. F of 2 is 2 times 2 squared, so 2 times 4, which is 8, minus 5 times 2, which is 10, minus 3. So this gives you negative 2 minus 3, which is negative 5. When we plug in 2 plus h into our x's, we have to plug it into both of these x's. So we're going to have 2 plus h squared minus 5 2 plus h, and don't forget that minus 3 at the end of this equation. And then we're also going to subtract our f of 2, which is negative 5, so we're subtracting a negative 5. So that's actually going to turn into adding 5. This is all over h. So we're going to distribute out, so 2 plus h squared is 4 plus 4h plus h squared minus, I'm just going to distribute this out. So we have negative 5 times 2 minus 10, negative 5 times h minus 5h, and this is minus 3 plus 5. Again, all over h. When we distribute this 2, it's going to give us 8 plus 8h plus 2h squared minus 10 minus 5h minus 3 plus 5. Again, all over h. And when we combine our like terms, this leaves us with 2h squared. And we have 8h minus 5h, which gives us positive 3h. And our 8 minus 10 gives you negative 2, minus 3 gives you negative 5, plus 5 means that those all cancel out. So we're left with over h. Simplifying this gives you 2h plus 3. And since our h is getting closer and closer to 0, we can pretend that this is a 0, so 2 times 0 plus 3 will just give us 3. So the slope of our tangent line is 3. And we're going to use this to plug back into our point slope form. So we know that f of 2 is negative 5. So we have y minus our y value, which is at negative 5, equals our slope 3x minus our x value, which is 2. We distribute it, so 3x minus 6, subtract 5 from both sides. We end up with 3x minus 11, and that is our equation for the tangent line. For example number 5, the slope of the secant line, I think I'm just going to skip this one. You guys should be able to do this one. I'm going to go ahead and do the slope of the tangent line. So for this one, we again are plugging it into our formula. And we're using 1. So we're going to be finding f of 1 plus h minus f of 1 over h. So f of 1 is 1 cubed, which is 1, minus 1 plus 1, which is just 1. So this one's a little bit trickier because when we plug in 1 plus h into these, you have 1 plus h cubed minus 1 plus h squared plus 1, and then we're also subtracting 1. So this 1 is coming from here. Okay, of course it's all over h. So 1 plus h cubed is, I'm going to do this one out here, is 1 plus h times 1 plus h times 1 plus h. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply these two together. That gives me 1 plus 2h plus h squared. And then I'm going to multiply this by another 1 plus h. So when I do that, I'm just multiplying each of these by each one of these. So I'm going to do 1 times 1, 2h times 1, plus h squared times 1. And then I'm multiplying each of these by the h as well. So 1 times h is h, 2h times h is 2h squared, h squared times h is h cubed. So this is actually my 1 plus 8h cubed. So I have, let me combine like terms. So this is 2h, h, I have h squared, 2h squared, and I have an h cubed. So I have 1 plus 3h plus 3h squared plus h cubed. And now I'm subtracting 1 plus h squared. So 1 plus h squared is 1 plus 2h plus h squared. And then this plus 1 minus 1 cancel each other out, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And this is all over h. And again, I'm going to combine like terms. So because this is negative, all of these are negative. So I have 1 minus 1, these cancel out. 3h minus 2h gives us 1h. 3h squared minus h squared gives us 2h squared. And we still have this plus h cubed all over h. When I divide all these out by h, I'm left with 1 plus 2h plus h squared. Because h is 0, because we wanted to get infinitely close to 0, both of these, 2 times 0 plus 0, are going to cancel out, so your slope of your tangent line is 1. And again, I'm going to take this and plug it back into my point slope form. So f of 1, we already figured out was 1. So we have y minus your y value, 1, equals the slope, which is 1. X minus the x value, which is 1. Again, we're going to simplify, so we have plus 1 to both sides. You end up with y is equal to x as your point slope. Or this is a slope-intercept form. Okay, last example. Again, I'm going to skip the secant line because you all know how to do that. For the tangent line, so now we're evaluating at x equals 2. So we're going to do f of 2 plus h minus f of 2 over h. And I'm plugging in 2 plus h into this function. So it's 2 over 2 plus h plus 1 minus my f of 2 is 2 over 2 plus 1, which is 2 over 3. So this is 2 over 3 all over h. So if I simplify this part, it's going to be 2 over 3 plus h minus 2 over 3 divided by h. So for this part, what I'm trying to do is get rid of these fractions. So I'm trying to make them all disappear. So my least common denominator for this problem is, I need a 3 plus h and a 3. So what I'm going to be doing is multiplying each of these by 3 plus h. And I'm going to distribute it to each of these fractions, including the one on the bottom. So when I multiply it by this one, the 3 plus h and the 3 plus h cancel out, so I'm left with 2 times 3, which is 6. Over here, the 3 and the 3 cancel out, so I'm left with 3 plus h. The bottom, I have a 3h and a 3 plus h. And so I'm going to distribute this. We're left with 6 minus 2h over 3h, 3 plus h. These 6's cancel out, so we're left with negative 2h over 3h, 3 plus h. The h's cancel out, and then I have negative 2 over 3 plus h. So again, your h is approaching 0, so we're just going to pretend like your h is 0. If this is 0, this is just negative 2 over 3 times 3. So the slope of your tangent line is negative 2 over 9. And that's your slope. Again, we're going to plug it in. So we know f of 2 is 2/3. So we have y minus 2/3 equals negative 2 over 9, x minus 2. So we have y minus 2/3 equals negative 2 over 9x plus 4 over 9. And then we're adding 2/3 to both sides. So we have y equals negative 2 over 9x. And if you're adding 2/3, 2/3 is the same thing as 4/9. No, hold on. Times 3 times 3, 6/9. 6 over 9. So when we add 4 plus 6, it's going to give us 10 over 9. And this is your slope-intercept form for the tangent line.